Greetings family, this is Guru. Thanks for visiting my channel. Today's video is about BET's founder, Bob Johnson, who says let's give Trump a chance. We're going to go to the story. So family, Bob Johnson, founder of Black Entertainment Television, BET, has a message for black people after a recent private meeting with President-elect Donald Trump. Give him a chance. Let's go to the video.
Friend, and they say, Bob, President-elect Trump would like to meet with you to talk about how he can better reach out to the African American community. And I said that's a positive sign, so I accepted the invitation. We had a great chat. I'd say the most important thing that came out of the meeting, he and I agreed that, if you recall during the election, he talked about what do African Americans have to lose. And I said, President-elect Trump, the real question you should be asking is, what do African Americans have to gain by your presidency? And he said, Bob, you're right. We should talk aspirational. I'm willing to talk about things that you believe are important for African Americans, and I want to have that dialogue with you. And that's what we talked about.
And, we've had all of our conversations over the years, and, you're a private sector guy, and you've unbelievable entrepreneur and companies that you've built, and you certainly like when the environment is better for a vibrant private sector. Would you characterize your meeting with Donald Trump as, were you expressing concerns, or was there a degree of wanting to work together to try and really get this economy back over 3% again?
And Joe, it was exactly about that. We talked about things, what I call business solutions to social problems. I didn't get into the political stuff that they talk about. For example, we talked about repatriation, and if you're going to repatriate capital back to the U.S., why not have, as part of that, a program where tax credits and tax incentives go to companies that invest capital in the urban markets, or invest capital with fund managers who know how to invest and grow urban markets. We talked about the retirement system, where billions of dollars is being leaked out of the retirement system for working class and minority Americans, where if you had a Labor Department support on something called auto portability, which simply means your 401k follows you where you go, and you're not tempted to cash out and lose the retirement upside as well as pay taxes on it. And we talked about, for example, encouraging companies to hire more minorities, to do business with the more minority companies, sort of a variation of the Rooney Rule, which I call the RLJ Rule, which focuses on making sure that minorities, both for jobs as well as for suppliers, are hired. So we were really focused on the business issues, and President-elect Trump is a business guy, and I think he's going to tilt towards finding the way to use fiscal policy and his own efforts, knowledge as a business guy, to move the economy forward for jobs and economic growth.
These are hyper-partisan times, obviously, and I've seen articles being written that there are certain members of the political class that they're using the word normalize for Trump. They don't want anyone to even normalize Donald Trump. So just by acknowledging he's president and going to see him, I would imagine you could come under some criticism. I've seen others come under criticism. And as far as, some of the protests and what's behind the protests, whether it's, the racist accusations to the people that he's appointing or whatever, what would you say in this atmosphere right now after meeting with him? Is there a lot to fear for minorities and immigrants and everything else?
Joe, I've known President-elect Trump for some time. I knew him when I was running BET, and I've seen him at a number of events. And it's my conclusion that we can find common ground with the Trump administration. I know I had a great dialogue with him, with his son-in-law Jared, and I've known Reince Priebus. So my approach to these guys is, look, I don't look at you as enemies. I don't look at you as necessary friends. I look at the question of, I have, on behalf of African Americans, I'm talking about we have permanent interests. That doesn't mean that one day we will not support you or one day we will support you. And I think that's where the African American voter should be. This is something that a member, Congressman Bill Clay of Missouri, said when the Congressional Black Caucus was founded, Black Americans should have no permanent friends, no permanent enemies, just permanent interests.
Listen.
And I think with the Trump administration, that's the philosophy we should take. We should not lock ourselves in one party or the other. And I'm a Democrat, and I say this with all due respect to the Democratic Party, and I say it to the Republican Party. This country needs somebody who's going to lead it, not somebody who is going to sort of force us to choose sides. And if President-elect Trump believes that he should be talking about what Black Americans have to gain, as President Obama said and as Hillary said, let's give him a shot. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt, see if we can find common ground. And I think that's the best interest of African Americans.
Say in this atmosphere right now, after meeting with them, is there a lot to fear for minorities and immigrants and everything else?
You know, Joe, I've known President-elect Trump for some time. I knew when I was running BET, and I've seen him at a number of events. And it's my conclusion that we can find common ground. And with the Trump administration, I know I had a great dialogue with him, with his son-in-law Jared, and I've known Ryan will support you. And I think that's where the African-American voter should be. This is something that a member, Congressman Bill Clay of Missouri, said when the Congressional Black Caucus was founded. Black Americans should have no permanent friends, no permanent enemies, just permanent interests. And I think this country needs somebody who's going to lead it, not somebody who is going to sort of force us to choose sides. And if President-elect Trump believes that he should be talking about what Black Americans have to gain, as President Obama said and as Hillary said, let's give him a shot. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt, see if we can find common ground. And I think that's the best interest of African Americans.
So family, I just shared with you the video recording and airing of the interview with Bob Johnson. And so with that said, I'm going to continue on with the article. It says that the television exec who retired as head of the network in 2006 reportedly met with Trump on Sunday to discuss how he can better reach out to the African American community. In an interview with CNBC that aired on Monday, Johnson revealed that he and Trump had a, quote, great chat. Family, Johnson explained that he and Trump talked about, quote, business solutions to social problems, unquote, including a program where tax credits and incentives go to companies that invest capital in urban markets, i.e. that means back into some of the Black and brown communities. And family, when asked how he feels about the fact that many people in Black and immigrant communities feel that Trump and his supporters are racist and xenophobic, Johnson insisted that he's known Trump for many years and feels, quote, we can find common ground. Well, family, before I move on, I just want to bring out a very important point that I caught in this article. Number one, it talks about the fact that when asked how he feels about the fact that many people in Black and immigrant communities feel that Trump and his supporters are racist, I think the media is definitely trying to pit us against them, because what they're doing and what they're neglecting to mention is that Trump has a lot of enemies who are white. Trump has a lot of non-supporters who are also white. Trump has a lot of people who are white that do not go along with his policies. And I think that's an important point, because the media is really trying to paint this picture that it's really Black and brown communities, when in fact we see at the majority of these protests that it's a lot of white people in the sea of protesters. It's a lot of whites. That is an important point that I do not want to escape this video. So, I digress. Moving on. Quote, this country needs somebody who is going to lead it, not somebody who is going to force us to choose sides, Bob Johnson added. Quote, let's give him a shot. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. See if we can find common ground. I think that's in the best interest of African Americans, unquote, Bob Johnson stated. Well, family, I have to agree with him. We gave President Barack Obama a wide rope. And we see how much he did for the black community. We cannot just close our eyes and act like just because Trump is now going to be the president of the United States that he can't fix some of the issues that we've been so longing to get fixed. Especially since we're relying on others to fix it for us. And we're too lazy and we're too, lack of a better word, inexperienced to do it for ourselves. So, Bob Johnson is stepping up and he has met with President-elect Donald J. Trump to talk about some solutions. Now, the proof will be in the pudding. Talk is cheap. And if anybody should know that, Donald J. Trump should know it more than anyone. And those two coon parakeets he has working for him, Diamond and Chic or Silk, polyester, whatever you want to call her. I want these people to hold Donald J. Trump accountable for doing what's right, especially since he brought it up about giving him an opportunity, since what else do we have to lose, like he said. So with that in mind, I'm going to end this article off. It says, it's nice that Johnson can comfortably approach the prospect of a Trump presidency with this level of optimism, but it remains to be seen whether Trump's, quote, New Deal for Black America, unquote, which glazes over issues of racism and police brutality, will actually benefit black people in the long run. This article was taken from Huffington Post. I find it really odd that the Trump supporters and some of the racists always have something to say about Huffington Post. Well, in fact, they happen to post useful information. Family, I hope you like this video. Like, share, and subscribe. This is Guru. Thanks very much for your time watching. Until the next video, peace and love to you and yours. This is Guru. I'm out.